Hello. It is Sunday lunchtime. I always say it's morning, don't I? But we've been up quite early this morning, so it feels a little bit more like we're into the day than usual. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for joining me. Hasn't January felt like it's had 2,003,252.5 days now? Just the longest January ever, hasn't it? And thank you so much for being so wonderful this week. I found it really tough, and I think a lot of us haven't we, this week? It's been hard. I think because we heard that Chelsea was going to be postponed, and we are exhibiting, and it's going to be fabulous having it in September. No doubt about that at all. It's just so many things being cancelled again, isn't it? When we really thought that we might actually be coming out of the other side, I think. So though I'm looking forward to it, it was a tough thing, actually. I knew about it perhaps a little bit earlier than most people, because as an exhibitor, we've been sent an embargoed press release. But yeah, it hit me a couple of days later, actually, because it's not just about the show for me, it's about the people, and losing Malvern as well. So, and this weekend would usually be our Society of Garden Designers Awards, which I've had the privilege of hosting for. So many events where we are not able to kind of meet up with each other. So, but we can meet up with each other here, can't we? And I can't tell you how much this community means to me. Even more so when Camden and I are going through the very last this weekend proofreading things for the book. You are going to love it, I am sure. So let me have a look. Who have we got here today? So, hello, I am in the front garden. Yes, I am down the tree garden. Nice to see you there. Hello there, Shane and Jack. Make the world a beautiful place. Good to see you. Eliza Gray, yeah, it is a shame. But, you know, we've got to be positive and keep on moving through. And it is tough, though. Even me, who's Mrs. Annoyingly Positive, gets a bit down every now and again. So, yeah, so good to see you, Sweary Spice. Hello there, Ilse. Hey there, Dean. I just saw, we've had a lovely morning of gardening this morning, haven't we? So Mike's quiz or squiz was just wonderful. Quite hard, I thought. Some really hard ones, some really easy answers. And then I did miss Helia over on the weekend garden party, but I'll catch up with that. And then I've just had a little sneaky tour, and I know Dean was there, in Klaus Dolby's garden as well, so covered in snow. So, yeah, so it's been a wonderful weekend of gardening so far with Tamsin as well yesterday. So, yes, so we're in the front garden. So, yeah, so I'm going to show you more of the front garden. This is really a spring garden, if you like. So, and you can see this tree here. This is Azalea luteum. It's actually a rhododendron, and it's one of the reasons why we bought this house, or I bought this house without Jules even seeing it. So, because in the spring, and I'm just going to see if I can show you, it is huge. It's an ancient specimen, goes up and up and up and up and up. And you see that branch that's just about here? Jules and I argue about that branch all the time, because you have to dip your head to go underneath it. So, and he wants to take it off, and I haven't allowed him to do that for a number of years. It's true. So we do have a lot of arguments about that. But most of this garden, it's planted with my favourite fern. You can see that just about there. Polystichum herrenhausen. That's Polystichum herrenhausen. And it's a good fern because it's evergreen through the winter. But in a few weeks' time, I will be cutting back. As soon as I start seeing the new croziers coming up and through, I'll be cutting all of those old leaves off to make way for the new. We've got lots of things like lots of alchemilla, lots of bulbs are coming through, snowdrops by the front door, aquilegia, green apples everywhere, and lots of spring bulbs. And unlike the back garden, which is very bright and colourful, I'm trying to keep this a little bit more restful. So it's lots of whites and creams, pale pinks, soft yellows. And because it's a woodland garden, I just think it gives a lot more pop in the spring, because it's quite shady. And the reason why a lot of the shade-loving plants are white, it is to attract those pollinators in. So because the white really does glow in the shade. And some of you that know, and I'll just see if I can show you, we're under the cover here of some really quite mature trees. You can see them all in the background, up here. So even though this part of the garden is west and north facing from this side, it does get very, very shady, but not by the front door, which is what I'm hoping. Max is saying, how do you cope with this restraint? Not like you. I know. It is difficult. And sometimes I just think, stuff it. I'm just going to put that in there as well. So, so hello to all of you. So today what we're going to be doing in the front garden is we are going to be planting a rose. So, and the rose that I've got here for this front garden is called The Simple Life. Now, as we go through this, if you've got any questions, don't forget that you've got a little question box at the bottom of my screen. It is bottom right. Just pop them in there and I'll try and answer them as we go along. But today I have been waiting for a week, but the weather has been so shocking, and I know it has been for all of you as well, with snow, wet, dreariness. I've been waiting for this moment of a dry morning to actually get this rose planted. So because it's called The Simple Life, it feels even more lovely that that we can plant it together, because we're all living a very simple life at the moment, aren't we? So yeah, so I'm going to show you a picture of it. Let me just have a look and show you. So see if I can find the picture setting. So this is it. So it's The Simple Life. And the reason why I've chosen this, and I think I alluded to this the other day, is out the back, we've got some quite big, blousy, tissuey roses, and I've kind of really gone off those. So, but they're going to stay there. They're doing quite well. So, but out the front, I really want to do all I can to attract pollinators and insects and support the wildlife in the garden. And we have a water bowl in our small garden at the front and out the back. So, and this sort of large, kind of open, very simple, almost like a wild rose, will really attract the pollinators in. So, and The Simple Life, what's gorgeous about it, it's got these open reflex petals. It's kind of white, it's kind of peach, it's kind of pink, and I'm hoping that it will go a bit with our brickwork, actually. It flowers from May all the way through until September, repeating, and it doesn't get too big. It will grow to about 2 meters in height. So, and in our house, we've got tiles at the front of the house, so I don't want it to grow up and start kind of interfering with the tiles, because Jules would kill me. Oh, my real Swansea garden, it is as good as it looks. I'm so pleased. Do you grow it? I have not seen this growing. So so yeah, but this is kind of how it looks, apparently, once it gets going. So, and I really wanted to grow something out the front, because I loved all of the foliage that we put around the front door for us and the post lady, really, and the Amazon delivery drivers over Christmas. And I thought, I just want to have something that's going to be welcoming us home every time anybody comes home. Well, hopefully when people can start to come and visit again, and just for us when we come home. And it is fragranced as well. So so it should be a really nice welcome home to our simple life, I'm hoping. So that's that. Vote House and Bench, the Minister of Naughty Spends, wants it. It was quite difficult to get, I have to say. So there were a few suppliers that were selling it, but not many people had it in stock. And in the end, I got it from World of Roses. So so shall we plant it? So I'm going to show you some of the bits and bobs, just kicking the tripod there, that I've got together. Chrissy, my friend Chrissy, one of my oldest friends, saying, I may say it's not very calm and simple. That's about as calm and simple as I get, and Chrissy will tell you that. But can you see everything that I've got together here for you? It's under the comments a little bit, but I'm hoping you can see. So I've got my rose, and I'm going to show that to you. And now this is a bare root rose, but, and I'm going to tell you about this, I might as well do that right away. This actually came as a bare root rose. So what we did is as soon as it came, we put this rose into a bucket of water for at least an hour, possibly 2 hours. And every time you get anything bare root, just make sure that you do that, just to refresh it, allow it to take up some of the water, and just get it really, really kind of turgid and replenished with all of the water that it needs to grow. And then, because we couldn't plant it, we put it into this pot. You could put it into a nursery bed as well. But it just means that those roots are in contact with soil. So, and they're in contact with water, and they're in contact with nutrients. But in a tick, I'm going to take this out and I will show you what I'm going to do with it. So, oh gosh, Jane's already checked, and it is in stock at Sarah Raven. So there we are, not advertising. So, but I got this from World of Roses, fully paid for. So, but Jean, thank you, the Minister of Naughty Spends. You're doing a very good job. And it is at Sarah Raven at the moment. So we've got that. What else have I got? So I've got Bill or Ben ready to water. So we need that. I've got, and you can use some manure actually, but I don't have any in stock. So in stock, what am I, a shop? So, but here, what I have got is I've got some gorgeous natural grower, some of the compost that I like. You could use a multi-purpose, and this is my peat-free Sylvan, fully bought and paid for, so that I use. And then the other things that I think are essential for a rose anyway is mycorrhizal fungi. So I do like this mycorrhizal fungi. It's not absolutely essential, but it is for me. So and I will be sprinkling this into the planting hole just so that all of that bacteria can just start helping the rose, because I want it to do well. It's by my front door, so I don't want it looking awful. So mycorrhizal fungi, just to give a little bit of extra, zip to that rose as it gets growing. And then, and I've had this in the shed for a while. So, but this is this, and it's Lou's poo. You'll see Lou at Arches in our community. So, and this is her poo, so from her alpacas, that I'm going to sprinkle in the bottom of the hole as well. So that is my kit that I've got all ready for you. I'm going to see if you've got any questions already. So let's have a look, see if you've got any questions. So I can see. Right, Mims Corb, what aspect does it like? Okay, so it does prefer a little bit of sun, but I read that it will also grow in some shade as well, not too heavy. And this front door, it's west facing here, so I'm hoping that it's going to have enough to at least kind of produce as much flower as I need. So yeah, but if you've got a south facing wall, I think it will love it, but a little bit shadier, I think we'll be okay. So we're giving it a go. What other questions have we got? Oh, Mims again. Is it a rambler, a climber or a shrub rose? Thank you for that question. This is a climber, but I understand you can also grow it as a shrub. So, but it's not a rambler. And that's a very important point, because if it was a rambler, it would literally take over the whole of the front of my house. And I just don't want that to happen. So, so thank you for that question. Any other questions? Okay. Is it scented? Yes. Really, really scented, Max. And that's important for me when I'm coming in and out the front door. I want all of the olfactory benefits that I can possibly get here, which is why we've got a little sarcococca planted just there, so that you can really release the scent and you enjoy and be welcomed back home. So let's have a look. What are the benefits of alpaca poo versus other poo? There's tons of poo available if you want to use it. All it is it just goes down and releases feed into the soil. So, but I read good things, and everybody has a personal preference about the alpaca poo. And I've got it here, so I'm going to give it a go. And I'm sure Lou will be, have a look at her feed. She's called Lou, oh, what's she called? Tamsin, you're on. Can you put her link to her profile up here? So that would be good. Okay, right, there's lots of questions here, so that I'm going to cover now as I plant it. So you could grow it in a big pot. You can grow anything that you like, Pip, in a big pot. All plants, apart from bare root ones, obviously, they're delivered in pots. Nurserymen and women, they grow them on in pots. So anything at all you can grow in a pot, absolutely no problem. Okie dokie. So should we get in? I'm going to show you how I'm going to plant this. Now, I've been a little bit sort of more judicious than usual, because I was thinking where we are. Look, this is going to make you laugh, I think. Jules put one of his balls right in the way of my hole. So what I've done, and I'm hoping you can see this, I've already pre-dug the hole, so I might just go a little bit even further down, because I did think that if I was here digging, all you would see is my backside, and I thought I really don't want to put people off. So you can see that I've already dug a hole. So, but I'm going to show you how deep it is. So can you see, I've got a hole here. Give me some love hearts if you can see. So, and it is about it's quite a deep hole, and I've made it as wide as I possibly can. So, and at the moment, you probably can't see so easily, but it's about yay deep on my spade. So I dug that this morning because I didn't want to show you all my backside. And you can see it's quite tricky, because we have got this super gigantic ball in the way, just fondling a bit of Jules's balls there. And you can see also that it's surrounded by what I love this plant in the front garden. It just takes over. But Klaus Dolby had pots and pots of it in his greenhouse this morning I was admiring. But it's celeriolea, mind your own business. And I love it because it just spreads all over the place. And you can just rip it up whenever you like. So, okay, so let's get down and dirty, shall we? So, okay, so I've got a really big hole here for now. So, but what I am going to do, and I always like to dig a square hole. I'm going to show you up because I want to have a look at some of your comments. I always like to dig a square hole for anything of any size because what it means is that you don't get this spiralling of roots, so going round and around a hole. If you've got a square or a rectangular hole, it means that your roots are kind of made to force themselves out into the corners, and they don't go round and round and round and round themselves. So just looking at some of your I'm hilarious, sorry. I can't help fondling Jules's balls, Jack. I just can't help it. So naughty. So, right, so we're going to go back down. I'm hoping you will be able to see. But I've got a fork, so I've got my hole here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some spikes into the bottom of the hole. And what that means is that when I get down to put some of the compost in, some of it will kind of just filter through into the bottom of that hole. And it will also mean that the rose roots can get down into there a little bit more easily. And I want to give them an awful lot of help. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the rose itself. Just going to be off camera, chat amongst yourselves. So that's fine. But can you see here? It's going to go up a bit. Hope I'm not making anybody too seasick. But this is my rose. So it arrives just like this. So, and you can see the reason why you need to just put it into a bucket of water for an hour, a couple of hours, just to kind of make sure that it's rehydrated. And it's a really good, healthy rose, isn't it? So, but you can see that I need to make sure that I've got a deep hole because I don't want to damage any of these roots. No fanaring here. I can see your aubergines, Mims Corbs. Love it. So I want to make sure that these roots are not damaged. So I'm going to be very careful when I'm backfilling. The other important thing to remember when you're planting any rose is you can see the grafting point here. So, and I want to make sure that that is buried. So I am going to backfill so that these little sproutlets, these little laterals coming up, they're just showing above the soil, but this isn't. This is going to get buried. So, okay, so we'll go back to the hole. No laughing next to those balls there. So, okay, this is going to be a bit more awkward. So I might see what I can do here, but I might have to resort to showing to you because of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some compost first of all. And I've got my lateral grower here. So I'm going to put some of this in to the bottom of my hole. Can you see me? You can. Might just make you go a bit further down. Okay, is that better? Because I don't want you to not to be able to see because of the comments. So, yeah, knee pads on, hurry, and secateurs on my belt at all times. We're going in, team. So this, I'm just going to put a little bit in the bottom there. And then, where have I put it? I'm going to put, now on the back of this, it says you put 1 tablespoon to your compost or planting hole to feed a plant for 6 to 8 months. Look at it. It's all dried up. I'm going to show you actually. It's here. I wonder if you can see. It is actual alpaca poo. And my God, it really does look like it. Look, can you see? Alpaca poo. Do you like that, Tanya? I can see you there. Don't start talking about aubergines again. So that's going in the hole. I'm going to be naughty. I'm going to put a bit more in. So these are beans. So that's going in the hole as well. Put those there. And I'm just going to check for level. I've already done this, if I'm honest. But this is a good little tip for you. Checking for level with your roses. So I've got my hole here, hoping you can see. And then I've got a little bamboo cane. Now, if I put that across there, I can check, hoping you can see, but I'll talk you through it if you can't. I can check I can see that that graft is going to be underneath the top of that hole, so I know I'm good. Now, the other thing with your roses is which way round are you going to plant it? Now, you can perhaps see here that I've got a lot of these breaks coming up, going this way. So I am going to plant it not this way, where the rose is actually growing away from the wall, but this way, where it is growing towards it. The other thing that I've done is I've made sure that my hole is as far away from the wall as I can get it, because otherwise it's going to just be in the rain shadow of the wall and it won't catch just the natural rain that's coming down from the atmosphere, from the sky. So this is going to go in now. So I'm going to put it in, but what I'm going to do then, you can see it's quite deep. Can you see it's in the hole, just about, is I'm going to use some of this mycorrhizal fungi. Do you see? Now this comes with a little scoop. So I'm going to just scoop it out. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to sprinkle it over the actual roots. Some of it will go in the hole, but that's absolutely fine. But I'm sprinkling it directly onto the roots of the bare root plant. So there we go. And that is literally it. So I'm going to backfill it. So I'm putting in some compost into the bottom of the hole. And then what I'm going to do is I've collected all of the soil that I dug from the hole. So I don't want to be too kind to this rose. So what I will do, just off camera, is I'm going to put in, and you can see how sandy my soil is. So I'm going to put some of this in as well. So that goes in as well. I'm just going to kind of layer it up a bit like a cake. And then what I shall do is I shall just try and mix it in. Now I'm not going to use my Hurrah here because I don't want to damage any of the roots. I'm just going to get my hand in. Oh, Jules's balls are just, I'm not joking. They're in the way. So that's going in, just mixing it up a little bit. We've got the poo in, we've got the mycorrhizal fungi, and now I'm just going to go back with the topsoil so that I've dug out. So in it goes, nice and generous. There we go. I always think it's really handy actually when you're digging out from a border to have one of these trugs. You can't see it, but one of these trugs, I'll show you. It's really handy to have one of these when you're digging holes out of the border, because it just means that you've got it handy and available to just backfill. So, almost there, team. I know that Tanya and the boys are probably talking about aubergines right now. So, and do fill your boots with that. Right. So I'm just going to show you. Where are we at? It's quite buried that at the moment. So what I will do is I'm just going to, without pricking myself too much, I can just adjust it a little bit. I'm just firming it back in, not too hard. There you go. Firming the soil back in. And what I like to do is I just like to fill the last little bit with some compost, because again, is a little bit of nutrient, and the rain will just take it down. Now, I've done that rather quickly, but I'm hoping you get the idea. And I don't mind. In fact, I want it that the graft is absolutely covered. So can you see? Can you see that it's almost covered up completely, really? So, but the last thing I will do is I'll get Bill or Ben, and I'm just going to water it. Really good water. There we go. Nice drink. And everything else in there now. The poo, the mycorrhizal fungi, the compost and the soil, hey team, are all going to mix together. So there we are. We have planted a rose on the last day of horrible old January. And now we can start kind of looking after that and looking out for it for the rest of the year and see how it grows. Now, as far as training is concerned, what we're going to do here is we're not going to put up our wires straight away. And the reason for doing that is I don't like trellising really, because it's a personal thing. I just don't like looking at it through the winter when everything is looking a little bit, you know, knocked back and there's no foliage. So we're going to train the wires where you need them, because we've only got about, careful I don't trip over things, about yay bit space of wall. So we're going to train this rose in a slightly different way. What we're going to do is we're going to grow all of the growths pretty much upright, but then all the laterals that come from the framework, we're going to train them across each other and start looping them across. And because we've got a main stem coming up and then the laterals coming out, where they are coming out, that's when we're going to put our wires up. Because again, even though we've got just a short space, we do want to train some of our stems just going horizontal, because that will mean that we'll get more flower, just calming down and slowing down that phloem and xylem, that botanical stuff that goes on inside the rose. It will mean that I have got more flowers. But I don't want to look at all of the wires at the moment, the vinizing wires. So we're going to do it as we go. And it's because it's by the front door, we're never going to forget about, oh, we need to train that rose now. I tell you, I'm going to put a post on. Rocky Coles, who's a fantastic gardener, works a lot with Rachel de Tame, did a brilliant post on this. So I'm going to put it onto stories afterwards so you can look and see how he does it. So because there's a very good way that he has demonstrated brilliantly on his feed as to how to train your climbers, your climbing roses in a very tight space. So there we have it. So good. Right, everybody. Let's have a look. Hey, Angela, how are you, our foreign correspondent? Now, I'm going to have a look. So, Therese Lang, still in stock at World of Roses, probably not for much longer. I love that. Have we got any questions? What's the name of the peat-free compost was the best to buy? Well, I use this. I use it for everything, just so you know. And it's on the grid on my favourite garden products. I buy this, Silver Grow, organic growing medium. I buy lots of it, so we always have it to hand. So, and that's my favourite. And I use it for seed sowing and all sorts of things. So that's good. So questions, let's have a look. So do get out here today, Tanya. So it is really nice. I've got a few jobs that I want to be doing. So, okay, Middle Langdon Cottage. Will I feed it regularly? Yeah, I will. So I've got my worm juice. So that will be put on the Friday feeding list. So just whilst it's getting going. I won't go too wild about feeding it sort of too regularly. So after that, but just in its first year, I will definitely be feeding it regularly. But we have got the poo and also the compost just to give it a good starting point. So let's have a look. Would you put horse manure in the hole or just around? I would put horse manure in the hole if I had any. Well rotted, of course. We don't want it to be too kind of fresh, otherwise it can damage your plants. So, but yup, so that's good. Do you bury the graft or union or not? Absolutely, just demonstrated that. So we will. It's a good idea to bury that graft, because if you don't, what happens is the flower that you want to come up is kind of overtaken by the graft. Sometimes just thinking I'm going to get out here and give it a go and just start growing myself. So, and that just stops it from kind of getting a little bit kind of a bit of a bun fight in there. So do you ever pour water in the hole first? Yes, you can do that if you like, but it's very damp out here because it's been so wet. So I'm not overly concerned about that, but I will. I've just demonstrated. Bill and Ben, my watering can friends, they are always at the ready when we plant anything really. So will it need support? Absolutely it will. So, but we are going to train this. There is a thing on the IGTV about how to train your climbers. We use vine eyes drilled into the wall using raw plugs, and then tension wires that just get across, and we have they wind up at each end, so we can constantly keep on making sure that the wires that go across horizontally are tight. have a look at that. I might just put a link to it on the stories after this, because we did that together last year, so you can see how you can support your roses. More questions, trying to get through them. Will I be doing another Zoom? Missed tickets on the last one. I shouldn't I? I really did ought to do that, but we're just trying to get the book finished at the moment. So let's have a look. The things. Can it be used as a cut flower? I think you can use anything as a cut flower if you like, apart from I don't cut my hellebores back because they don't seem to last as a cut flower, because they don't seem to last very well, and I prefer to keep them out the front. But yeah, use anything as a cut flower, I think. So for sure. Any other questions for us to go through? Do you use mycorrhizal fungi? Absolutely I do, particularly with my roses. So that's that, just scattered all over the roots. So so that's a good one. And just let's have a look. Any more questions? So let's see. Do you feed it now or wait until spring? I'll be waiting until spring, because what I don't want to do is this rose kind of to get too enthusiastic, start kind of gliding out of the ground, and then some frost will come and knock it back. So certainly don't want to do that at all, because you know, nothing more disheartening, is there? We've got to be thinking about kind of frost, actually, because my frost, I was at last frost here in Hampshire. We might get frost until the end of April. So we have to be careful about what we're sowing and what we're planting and what we're feeding. So, and this is why I'm really kind of making sure that I don't go too wild with the seed sowing at the moment. But just for Tanya's benefit, I am just going to show you something, because I know that you guys were having a right old hoot at me sowing something in particular the last couple of days. Last week, I think it was, the week before, but look at that. I have got some aubergines. They have started to come up. So this one is jackpot. So, and I've planted that. I've only planted aubergines, cobea, a bit of coriander, a bit of basil and some cress, just because I needed something to get growing in my life, something to sort of keep me sort of pizzazzy and into it. So, and I've also sowed my antirrhinum. This is with my heated propagator that I bought from Garland. And I've also got my grow light on the top. So we've got jackpot, which is a container aubergine. And look at that. They're growing, so I'm rather chuffed about that. So that's all very good. So thank you so much, team, for joining me today. I really have enjoyed seeing you. The one thing that I would suggest you do this afternoon is get out into your garden. If you really don't have that much to do, Tanya's vlog is going to the aubergines. So I tell you what, this morning we did bird watch. So, and you'll have seen in my stories that Gilbert and I, we printed off a big sheet of birds that you can get from RSPB Loves Nature. And we spent a really wonderful hour this morning just counting the garden birds in our garden. We put up some more bird feeders. You can see there's one just there above my finger and a few out the back now. Didn't expect to get many birds. They need to kind of wait and see and find out where the food sources are. But it was such fun, I have to say. We did think about that we would go outside in our dressing gowns with a blanket, but actually the amount of noise that we were making when we saw a jackdaw, for example, and every time we saw a tit, huge hilarity from my 11-year-old. It was just wonderful at an hour. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to upload all the results to the RSPB, and we'll keep on going with our birds, because they're just wonderful, keeping me going, keeping us all going, because gardens, they're not just about our plants, they're also about our wildlife, which is why I've gone for this open, The Simple Life rose. So thank you so much for keeping me company today. Absolutely gorgeous to see you. I'm just having a look to see some of your messages, because I do miss them. You're about to do your 0 bird watch. Oh goodness, that's a shame, Claire Bear. Keep on looking though. Keep on putting the feed out. So bird watch for you today, Carrie Leyland. Lovely, lovely. It's snowing with you, Therese. Oh, that's a shame. Hello there, 12 Flesh. How are you? So nice to see you. So and so good to see so many of you. Really nice. Hey, Richard. So I am going back to proofreading now. Otherwise, Tamsin will have my guts for garters. Almost there. Almost there. Like, we need to get it all finished today. The book is looking spectacular. It's all very much based on the spreads that we showed you in the first place, but everything is done, and everybody that submitted to the book, we hope, we've checked and checked and checked, is in it. Some people are quite small, some people are quite big.